Okay. Is it going? Oh, yeah. Hey there, highlighters. Erin King here. And today, friends, you are in for a treat. We have Rachel Luna, author of Permission to Offend, in the house. Rachel, how's it going?
Oh, I've got my highlighters ready.
Yeah, love it. So good. Well, we actually just met yesterday and had a fantastic conversation over on Rachel's phenomenal podcast and did not realize we were scheduled to meet the very next day for mine. So it's double Rachel Luna, and I am double lucky and double blessed. And highlighters, so are you, because today we are talking all about the power of journaling. I know all of you, we have talked a million times about journaling and prompts and putting it to paper and the power that journaling has to manifest whatever your deepest desires might be, whether it's health or wealth or happiness or a combination of all three. And Rachel Luna, friends, is here to talk to us about the power of journaling and how she has used it for both her and her clients to journal her way to tangible wealth, a topic that we love talking about fearlessly and audaciously here on the podcast. So, Rachel, tell us, when did you first start journaling and when did you first see the power that it had to transform your life?
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. And yes, let's get into it. I first started journaling probably when I picked up a pen for the very first time. I've always kept a diary. I've always had notebooks. I am a writer at my heart. But it wasn't until I was about in my mid 20s that I realized how powerful journaling actually was. And there was a shift, right? So when I first started journaling, quote, I was keeping a diary. And the difference between keeping a diary and actually journaling the way I teach it is that when you keep a diary, you're really using it to emote, right? You're just sharing your day today, like, dear diary, today I sat across the way from the boy and he smiled at me, or the girl, or whatever, and we're just documenting.
Yeah.
But when you journal the way that I teach it, it's really about creating a vision for your life with intention. And I first discovered this, I was in the Marine Corps, so I'm a former US Marine, and I was stationed in Germany, and things were not really going according to what I thought my life plan was going to look like. At that time, I had just found out that my on again, off again boyfriend of 3 years was actually happily married. Not just like, yeah, girl. Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I hate this story. I'm so sorry. How awful.
No, I mean, I really look at everything as an opportunity to help me grow, to help me learn,
Yeah.
to refine who I am today. I'm so grateful for that. And if you look at even all the things that have happened to me, right? Both of my parents had AIDS. My biological mother died when I was 3 years old. I had disordered eating. I struggled with alcohol abuse. I mean, pick a trauma, and I've experienced it.
Yeah.
Date rape, all the things.
Oh,
And, and okay, I thought I cut out for. I fell into depression, and I was taking uppers and downers and in betweeners and all those things. And what I've learned over the years is that I didn't have a productive outlet. So I had
yeah.
a journal, but all I was doing was writing the same things over and over again, right? So I would write, like, today was a hard day. I'm sad. I feel this. Well, if that's what you're experiencing, and then that's what you're thinking, and that's what you're writing, and then it becomes this loop. So no change happens. You just stay living the same experience, and you might have pockets of change. You might have pockets of excitement and joy, but there's no sustainability to it. So there I was in my mid to late 20s, my on again, off again boyfriend. I discover, and I discovered this like 2 days before we're supposed to take a trip and meet in Puerto Rico. And I then later
Mm.
that he was going to go to Puerto Rico and meet me on that day, come to my family home in Puerto Rico to meet my entire family, and then the next day drive to the airport and pick up his wife and take her to like her family home. And he had a schedule, like a printed out schedule of how he was going to divide his time between the two of us.
Whoa.
Okay, people are crazy. Anyway, needless to say, I was devastated. And I realized like I can't keep living my life this way. I need something different. And as a God girl, I began to pray. I began to ask God to like show me a better way. And I remember having this idea to just write down what I would like my life to be as if
Yeah.
it were true. And so that's where the right shift script method was born, the faith activated journaling method. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But I want to tell you some of the other things that I did as well and what the results of these actions were. So I started doing this 3-step method. And then I thought, well, I'm really creative. And I think it would be really fun if I had a journal that had the pictures, right? Like, you know how people were talking about vision boards a lot at that time. And it
Yeah.
was like the secret, you know, put a
Yeah.
vision board and put it up on your wall and then it would happen.
Yeah.
So I thought I want to be able to take my vision board with me, but that's not practical. So I had a little journal about this size and I just started pasting the pictures of what I wanted to be and what I wanted to have. And one of the pictures that I had was a woman in a lace dress and a mantilla, which is a lace veil from Spain, marrying a man in uniform. And I thought that was really weird because I was like, I definitely don't want to marry a Marine, but it was a cute picture. And there
Yeah.
were 2 little stick children, and I put them all in this picture. And within 18 months of me journaling every day, not what was happening, not what was actually my day-to-day life, but journaling what I wanted my life to look like, how I wanted to feel, where I wanted to live, what kind of house I wanted to have. I met my husband. We had our first daughter. We got married in the most beautiful, picturesque place in
Oh.
Santorini, Greece. And it was like, I got out of debt. I got out of $40,000 of debt. I ended up saving enough money in cash to buy a brand new vehicle, like in cash. Okay, but fun story. Like that vehicle still sits outside my house right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. So was the language that you were using talking about it so like in a someday way or in a present tense?
It was a present tense. It was like, I'm so happy. I feel fulfilled. I love my body because I had a lot of negative body image and I had severe body dysmorphia. So even when I would lose weight, I didn't feel that I didn't see myself the way that I looked. And actually, after I got diagnosed with breast cancer, because, oh, hi, also a breast cancer survivor, I really mean it. Like, pick a trauma, and I probably have experienced it. But anyway, I lost a lot of weight after the treatment, and I got down to 99 pounds. And I realized while I was healing that, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing body dysmorphia again. Because I would look in the mirror at 99 pounds, Aaron, and I still saw myself at 130 pounds. And I'm 4'11", by the way. So, 4'11", 130 pounds, you're fluffy, they call, you're curvy. Go ahead.
So you started journaling sort of throughout. So you started journaling after this trigger event happened with the guy that you were dating. And then you journaled your reality. You began to manifest it, actualize it. And then, so if someone's listening and let's say that they are at some stage of their own trauma. So let's say maybe they've discovered that their partner isn't who they thought that person was, or maybe they are dealing with some kind of a body image issue, or maybe they've been journaling and it's just kind of it's not working for them. So how should they be thinking? Like, what do you think was it the consistency? Was it the prompts you use? Like, walk them through maybe your method to help them get on the right track with this.
Okay, so it's a combination of everything and also time. And I don't mean time as in you need a lot of time, but we do need to allow for time. And this is a conversation that I've been talking about a lot inside my journaling program. We talk about quantum leaps. And everyone says they want that, right? Like I went from, $100 this month to 10,000 in the next month, right? We want that quantum leap, but we don't understand that when you look at a quantum leap, you need time. And anyway, so It's everything. Let me tell you the method. So the
Okay.
method is 3 simple steps. It's write, shift, script. So the first step is you get your journal and you write down whatever, no matter whether you have a journal prompt or not. I like to give journal prompts. I like to give them in a form of a question, because what I discovered over the years was that if I gave you a prompt as a statement, yes, you could maybe answer it. But if I gave the journal prompt in the form of a question, your subconscious mind would look for the answer. So there's less resistance when you ask yourself a question. So the first step is write, and you're going to write whatever comes to your mind. And the reason I wanted to tell you that little trick about the question is because if you're looking at your page and you're feeling like I have nothing to say, drawing a blank, first thing you're going to do is write that down. I have nothing to say. I'm drawing a blank. This is stupid. Oh my gosh, this sucks. Whatever. And the reason that you do that is because you have to sort of turn the key between your conscious subconscious barrier. And the conscious mind is trying to make things make sense. The subconscious mind is just processing everything that you know. So you write whatever the heck comes to mind. And then you go into step 2, which is to shift. And now we want to make that shift between just whatever random things to start writing with intention. And when you are in your practice, you can do this in a variety of ways. You can ask yourself a question. You can say something like, oh, I'm so glad that part is over. I'm so grateful now that. So whenever anyone is stuck in the shift, I always say, just write this sentence. I'm so grateful now that. Because what this is doing is it's priming your subconscious mind to start dreaming, to open up to new possibilities. And so you can say, I'm so grateful now that what? Now that our Wi-Fi is working and we get to actually do this conversation. I'm so grateful, right? I'm so grateful now that the worst part of my life is over. I'm so grateful now that I know the truth about this guy, right?
Yeah.
When you can take the painful part and turn it into something good. And if we look at some more extreme cases, right? When I got diagnosed with breast cancer, most people would not think to feel gratitude about that, right? The first feeling you typically feel is fear, and then anger, then frustration, and so on. But I started saying, I'm so grateful now that I got this warning sign from my body. Yeah. I'm so grateful now that the tumor was discovered and I realized that there's something systemically wrong that I get to work on to heal. Okay. And then that brings us into step 3, the script. The script is where you write your desires as if they already were. So when I was working on healing through breast cancer, I literally was writing, I'm so grateful now that I'm healed. Oh my gosh, thank you, God. I was so scared, but you delivered me and you kept your promises. According to Psalm 91, you said that you would satisfy me with long life. And wow, I made it. I beat the odds. I lived for 80 plus years cancer-free. I began to write these things as if they truly were. And the same thing when I was, manifesting way back in the day. I was writing about promotions at work, and I was journaling about my husband and our home. And even this home that I live in right now, when we were living in our apartment, I never really cared about being a homeowner, but it was really important for my husband that we become a homeowner. And the reason why I want to share this with you is because I think that there's going to be someone listening or tuning in where your life partner isn't really on board with what you want to do. Or maybe they're not as supportive as you want them to be. And I have found that when I journal on behalf of my husband, when I journal on behalf of my family, it changes me. And because I change, they are affected and they change, right? So anytime we make a shift in our behavior, it changes the way other people respond to us. So I began journaling about our dream house. And I said, our house has 2 fireplaces, one in the living room, one in the bedroom. Guess what, Erin? I'm literally from my home office. I can see my fireplace in the living room, and then there's a fireplace in the bedroom. And I would journal about the pool and how there was I was very, very specific. So if you are journaling journaling and it's not working, you have to ask yourself, one, am I taking the time to write all of my limiting beliefs? Am I getting honest with how I feel about this practice? Two, am I incorporating this shift? Am I adjusting so that I'm in a frequency of positivity, of gratitude, of love? Because those are the highest frequencies from which we can create. And three, am I writing my desires as if they already were with specificity? One of the reasons why things don't manifest is because you are clear in what you want, but you're letting your fear trick you into thinking that you don't know what you want or that you're stuck. My friend Marshawn Evans says it's not an abundance of, it's not a lack of clarity that you have, it's an abundance of fear. So those are the things that I encourage. And then to supercharge it, Erin, you have to visualize it. 1 minute a day, whatever you've written down in that script, just see it, feel it, allow your body to vibrate. And then the question that I always ask myself is, what's the first step I need to take today to make this a reality? You go.
Well, I think that for anyone who has been struggling with journaling, I mean, I've been a diehard journaler for a long time, but I know a lot of people talk about journaling like how we talk about we should do more yoga, we should drink more water, we should journal. It's just like, it's one of those things that everyone's like, oh, it's simple, you just journal. But I guess that, you know, what I hear from a lot of my tribe is that people, they try it for a little while, then they give up, right? Or I have some people that message me and say they're afraid someone's going to find it and read it, and they don't like that piece of it.
I've got it. I've got the solution for that.
Okay.
Write it, rip the pages out, and throw them away. You don't have to keep the pages for it to work. It's not like there's nothing magical about a journal, right? It's just an action step. It's just a thing you're doing so that you can connect with your soul's true desires. It's just for you to unlock, I told you, that conscious subconscious barrier so that you can get in and pull out the junk and the limiting beliefs and get more clarity on what you want and what actions you need to take. Most of us ask, when we say like, oh, I want to have a 7-figure business, or I want to build my team to, you know, my downline to have thousands of people. Well, the first question they ask is, how do I do that? And that's the wrong question to ask. It's not how, it's what and who and when, right? So what's the first step? And who do I need to enroll in this vision? And when do I need to have these little widgets set up? If you start asking those W questions, all of that gets you to the H. It gets you to the how.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I think that that's easier said than done, because I try to practice that myself. Like even today, my book someone just sent me a picture on Instagram for the very first time that my book is in Barnes & Noble. And it was the first thing I saw of it. I didn't know it was already in there. And I bawled crying like 10 minutes before you and I hopped on this call. And immediately my mind went to like, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And I know what the what is. The what is like, let's make a kick-ass book. Let's focus on souls over sales. Let's change the world. Like I know the what, but immediately I went to the how. I went to the game plan and the details and the strategy and the tactics and the team and the list. And it's so hard to reprogram our brains not to go to the how, especially when we're like doers, you know?
Yeah, I want to challenge you on that though, because you just said that, you know, the marketing plan. I don't look at that as how. I look at that as what. Okay, what part of the marketing plan are we working today?
I think I was more like, how is it going to all unfold? How are they going to respond? Like, I feel like I ask a lot of how questions, and how I'm agreeing with you. I think what is a lot more powerful than how.
Yeah. And, but I wanted to make that distinction for the listener, because like you're super evolved, right? Like you've been doing this work for forever. So consciously, we know all these things. So when I think about just all of us, because we all struggle at some point with asking the how, it's the default. But if we just remind ourselves, like, well, let's go back to brass tacks. If we bring it back to action, it's never how, it's always what, who, when, where.
Yeah.
Even a why.
So what do you think is, in your opinion, what is the big mistake that people make most often when it comes to journaling and either using it incorrectly or not using it enough? Or, I mean, what do you see over and over again the most that you think is the biggest mistake people make when they approach it as a practice?
Well, the first big mistake that they make is that they think that they have to have this ritual set up and
Yeah.
that it needs a lot of time. Like, I can't journal because my candles aren't in and my journal is, they're afraid to wreck their journal. I see that a lot. A lot of people have trouble even opening it because it's like, it's so pretty and new. It's like, no, just let it be messy. Overthinking that the journal, they have to do it the right way. There is no right or wrong way. There are better practices for sure, but you can't mess up being honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
The biggest mistake is lying to yourself into thinking that you have nothing to say. So another mistake is giving up too soon, especially when we're trying to manifest something and we've set a deadline and the deadline has come and we didn't get the thing and we think it's over. I don't give up on those dreams anymore because I recognize that maybe it didn't manifest in this season as a form of protection. And I'm actually, Erin, this last month, I have seen so many opportunities that I had been thinking I wanted. And for whatever reason, like the things just didn't align and I couldn't participate. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, so that's why I wasn't supposed to be part of that project or this, because I'm seeing fallout, fallout, fallout. And so it's like, just you have to trust that you may have your plan and your dream, but God's plan and God's dream for us is so much bigger and better. So not surrendering to leaving room for God, I guess, and if you don't ascribe to God, like leaving room for whoever you believe in to come in and support you. So those are the biggest mistakes: giving up too soon, thinking that you have to have some sort of special practice, and worrying about getting it right. You're not going to mess it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I love that we're talking about really authorizing ourselves to change our minds, to change direction. And I think, I don't know why, I just feel like as women, sometimes we give ourselves a hard time when we
Mm.
change our mind. And, men will use words like pivot or, new strategic direction. And they have no problem being like, yeah, that was the idea last week. And now we're doing a new plan. Like, who cares? And I feel like as women, because we do strive for, perfection and making sure everyone's okay. And is this our gold star effort? I think we struggle sometimes if we do decide to take a hard left where we had been going right and we feel that maybe we're giving up too soon or we didn't give it enough of the college try or whatever narrative we're spinning. So I love the authorization that we can allow that space for a quick shift and to honor it as just part of that journey and part of that process. And I think for my clients and for me, when it comes to journaling, it's not even half the time about the end game. It's not even about manifesting the quantum leap or the house or the fireplace or the thing, although all that is great. And yes, of course, we're all striving for that. And for what I find the most value is making it like a buddy on the journey. It's like someone that can link arms with you that won't judge you and is there for you no matter what and doesn't talk back and just allows you to get it all out. And I mean, I will say I keep all my journals and I have stacks and stacks, and the blackmail that someone could just wreak on me if they walked into this office and scooped these journals up and put them on the internet is high. But yeah, I mean, for those of you listening and who maybe you've been thinking about starting a practice, I mean, Rachel gave us some great tips for the writing, just starting to write, shifting into this kind of newer space of being more intentional. And then the third step was
Script. Okay,
scripting.
right there. That's the biggest mistake. If you only let me choose one mistake, it's that they skip out on the third step. And the third step is where you get the growth, right? Because the third step is what actually helps you envision a new possibility. Otherwise, if you're just, again, writing and shifting, you're just emoting and all your thoughts, which is great. You want to have that connection with yourself. That's where the growth comes from. That's where the not the growth necessarily, but that's where the understanding, the self-discovery comes from.
Yeah.
But if you don't script a new reality, then all you're going to create for yourself is exactly what you've had, exactly what you've gotten, right? If you want to move in another direction, you have to script a new reality. So when people tell me I don't have time to journal, I tell them just script.
Yeah.
If you don't have time to do all three, which should only take you about 7 to 12 minutes on any given day, go with the last step and at least start telling yourself a new story, because the subconscious mind is actually the processor, right? I read a great article by a neuroscientist that I follow, and he said that the subconscious mind is actually the boss, right? It's like the president of the company. Your conscious mind is the manager executing the orders, but the orders come from the subconscious. So if you only do the first step, the writing, and you stay in your consciousness, then the manager is just sort of regurgitating the same stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Give it a new order, a new marching order.
I love that. That's so good. We'll link to that in the show notes too. That's really powerful. And I love that distinction, right? Of being aware of which world you are emoting from within. And I think, that is some next level advanced shit to be able to distinguish between what's coming out as it being subconscious versus conscious. And I think, to your point, like once you start doing this work and diving in and rolling up your sleeves and observing the process without judging it, like you said earlier, and leaning on some best practices like solid prompts. I know you're saying that the perfect routine with the candles and everything doesn't have to be. For me, if I don't knock it out first thing in the morning, it's never happening. So maybe find the one that works for you. That doesn't have to be perfect and Pinterest and Instagrammable. But no, these are great tips. So tell us more about this coaching program for journaling.
Oh, okay. So it's called the Faith Activated Journaling Experience. It's a 1-year journaling program. And the reason why I make it a year is because when you start journaling, especially doing it the way that I teach, there's going to be resistance. And I don't want anyone to come in and give up when I know how powerful it is.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, look, if you don't want to do this for a year, don't even join. I'm not pressed for people to be in my program. I don't want to convince anyone. I want you to feel compelled that you believe that incorporating this practice can and will change your life. And then if you have that belief set, then we're good, because every day I'm going to give you a journal prompt. We have a super active community in Slack. Every first Tuesday and Wednesday of the month, we do group coaching calls. Every third week of the month, I do journaling with them as a group every single day. We have a monthly planning session at the end of the month, so you can plan your month out with intention, and all of it. And of course, there's a core of lessons where I teach about resistance and intentionality and getting the best out of your practice and time management and things like that to complement your journaling experience. But at the end of the day, my intention is that over the year, you get to develop such an intimate relationship with who you are, what you stand for, what you want, and what action steps you're going to take to bring that about, that you feel like, even if I didn't journal, I got it on lock, but I'm going to journal because it changes who I am on any given day, and it helps me get closer with who I know I was born to be.
Mic drop. Rachel, where can they find more of you? You're fabulous. I love all these tips. I am super interested in sharing this with my tribe, my highlighters. Simone Phillips wants to know here on the chat, are you an Instagram gal? Are you a website? Where should they find you?
I am an Instagram girl all day. I'm at Girl Confident with a T at the end. And if you want to, I don't know when this is going to go live, but if you want to take the challenge, I have a 5-day journaling experiment. Cool. And that's kicking off June 7th. You can go to rachelluna.biz/experiment.
Awesome. And we'll link to that in the show notes too. Rachel, you're just a joy. I'm so thrilled of our back-to-back hangouts and that the Wi-Fi cooperated and the full moon didn't get in the way. And this has been great. So thank you for sharing your heart and your honesty and your story with us. I appreciate you.